can see how the water just damaged them so much. And so I tried as best as I could to keep them in one piece, but it only worked so well. Even some of the home movies that I have from being a kid, I have stuff like, you know, unwrapping this game, as well as stuff like Crash Bandicoot 2 or even Crash Team Racing. Like, I remember the videos of that, having video of me getting some of these games for Christmas or for birthday or for whatever the case. Contra Legacy War, I have happened to come across 2 versions of that game. This one's not too bad, actually. But you can see there it's got the Hollywood video sort of just stamped right on the disc. That's actually kind of a cool relic from the past to have just printed right on the disc, as opposed to these crappy stickers, because you usually can't pull them off or they leave residue behind. Here's another one, Tiger Shark 97. That's right after the PlayStation came out, you know, not too old into its life cycle. Final Fantasy VIII. Still got all that. One of my, well, this is the favorite of my Crash Bandicoot games, and so that's got to be Crash Bandicoot 2, Wrath of Cortex. I just found that to be the most fun, and even though I have Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, I still had a lot of fun with that game, but it just wasn't as fun as number 2, or so I thought. Cool Borders 2, I remember playing a demo for this, and I wanted the game so bad. Like, it just was one of those where it was going to change my life. And I had the money for it. And we went to the mall, and nobody had it. And I forget where I found it, but it wasn't until maybe the following week later, like the game had just come out, and I was just like, after playing the demo, I was like, I gotta have it. NASCAR 98, a game that I hold very near and dear to my heart. Just between the music and the tracks and the friends that I played it with at those times, you can't buy good memories from even a terrible game. And that's what all these games represent, is, you know, a period in time of greatness, of just being a kid. Here's another yucky hardcore 4x4. Not a very good game. Gauntlet Legends. This game's great. I wish I still had the one for the GameCube, which is kind of a shame. I was a NASCAR fan at one point. Kind of was into it. I liked the games. I used to watch the races every Sunday. And then kind of like after Dale Earnhardt died back in 2000, 2001, I kind of just fell right off with it. I was over it. Medal of Honor. It's a very foggy type game, but it's still a very good game. This is the launch edition of Crash Bandicoot Warped. It's got the cool, very cool lenticular cover. It's got Spyro, of course, on the inside. Here's the other actual cover, and then, of course, you can see the light going through. I always thought that was a cool cover. Wasn't a big fan of the sister and kind of taking control of her and having her be a sort of side to the main character. Wasn't a big fan, but of course we got Dead or Alive. Great game, the very first in the series, and definitely not anything like what the game had turned into. New, only on PlayStation game console. More characters, hot new customs, radical new moves. See, Monster Rancher. That's a game I never bought, never played. I remember seeing it at one point. Well, that game's still in good shape, though. Some of these are just classics. EA, that's back when their sports games really mattered. Tony Hawk 2, one of the greatest games. Some Triple Play 2000. And a couple of these games came from a friend of mine who basically just sort of gave me his collection because he didn't have a game collection anymore. So, of course I said yes. I mean, I'm still buying PlayStation games. I just bought one of these games that's in this pile. I just bought like 3 days ago. This was a game I have the strategy guide for, and I played this so much, and I remember, see, once again, I have 2 copies. I don't even know where some of these came from. Once again, I had to have this game. And then I had to do the Stolen Cold Stunner, which for some reason, you got your opponent, you got them all dazed. So they're standing there like this, and their bar's low, and your bar's all jacked up. And then you go ahead and you basically input this giant, and I mean giant. It was like a 14 button input just to make it happen. It was crazy. Driver, you are the wheelman. I remember this. I got this for my birthday. Final Fantasy VIII had just come out days before. And for whatever reason, you know, my dad's like, hey, go ahead and pick a game out. And I had Final Fantasy VIII, and I was like, I want this one. And I was looking at a bunch of different other ones. There used to be 2 game stores right across from each other. There was Babbage's, and then right across the way was Electronic Boutique. And they were both different in their own ways. The Babbage's, they sold like a lot of like keyboards and mice and PC hardware, and we're talking back in like 1997, 98. They probably closed in 99. So their store was quite different, but it was still cool, and you always saw like the big PC games, and out in the front they had this ancient TV that had just several years and several systems and several demo units worth of burn-in on the actual TV screen. And I remember the very first time seeing the Dreamcast there, and that was an epic moment. Here's this other game, Epidemic, and they used to do these things here where, you know, they would put several of the publishers' other games on this. Like I remember Battle Arena Toshinden, and they would put like the same exact format here, and they would put Bushido Blade, and they would have the arrows pointing to what the games were. So, you know, just seeing this again is pretty cool. This isn't some epic game by any means, but still, I love the PlayStation. And really for this box art, I don't know, there's something about that black border that just screams, you know, ancient PlayStation. Yeah, 1996. That's like just complete original PlayStation 1. Okay, yes, so anyways, back to Driver. I had Final Fantasy VIII in my hands. I said, this is the game I want. And it was kind of a, you know, are you sure that's what you want? Like, this is your birthday present, so, you know, make it count. Make it count. And for whatever reason, I'd already played the Final Fantasy VIII demo. I'd already played Final Fantasy VII. I knew it was going to be a great game. And for whatever reason, I just kind of went back over. I started looking. And for some reason, I put down Final Fantasy VIII. And instead, I bought Driver. So you can go ahead and hit that thumbs down button now. Chrono Cross. This was a game I just got maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I never played it. The second disc here comes out like so crisp, like it had never ever come out before. It's a little bit dusty, and that's about it. But I never played it before. I talked to a guy on a Facebook group. He bought these storage units that had been abandoned. That's so cool. 2 classic adventures in one package, now available in stores. So he had storage units that he found stuff in, and so he basically sold me this pretty brand new Chrono Cross. Like the case got cracked and stuff, but it's pretty much brand new. Like the booklet and everything is in great shape, and he sold that to me for like $5 or something like that. So that was a win. Of course, the ancient and great Metal Gear Solid. I remember my brother getting this back in the day, and I just loved it. We had demo discs, which I'm gonna get to in a minute. I still have another stack here. Jet Moto, one of my favorite games just of all time. I still have the codes like written down in here, and this was just such a great game. You could put the codes in and basically race up against 20 people. You'd have permanent turbo. You'd unlock all the tracks, like awesome stuff like that. Final Fantasy 9. So yes, eventually I bought Final Fantasy 8 and Final Fantasy 9, And what can I say? They're both great games. Tomb Raider, again, never actually owned the games. This was a game that I bought at Goodwill store just a couple months back, like $2 or $3. Totally worth it. And we used to play the old Tomb Raiders, Tomb Raider 1 and 2 specifically. They were on these demo discs that you would see at Walmart and stuff like that, or some of the ones that actually came with the PlayStation system, which, again, I'm about to get to. Gran Turismo. These were top-notch games at the time. I mean, they were just completely like the best. You know, San Francisco Rush. I have a San Francisco Rush for the N64. Not the best looking game, very polygonal. We all know how the PlayStation 1 is. Twisted Metal 4, not the original studio. You can't beat number 2. Number 2 was absolutely the best. This game had good music. So did Twisted Metal 3. Here's my Grand Theft Auto. One of the things that pisses me off about this, I was able to find it again. This one here has been, you can kind of see it's been disc doctored, and it's in rough shape. It plays though. But my original copy of Grand Theft Auto, I let my brother's friend borrow it, and he was my friend too. He lived right like a couple doors down. You could see his door. Every time they went in or out, you could see him. He asked if he could borrow it. And then, I don't know, something like 2 months went by, and it was like, hey, can I get that back soon? Yeah, no problem. I'm still, you know, I'm almost done with it. And then eventually, it was so long that had went by, and I was like, dude, where the hell is that game? And then it basically was like, oh, you know, I kind of got rid of my PlayStation, and, you know, I guess I just forgot. I forgot that that was your game. And so I just went ahead and basically sold it. And I saw him even a couple years ago, and I was like, hey, remember that? And, you know, it's all good. It's all cool. It's whatever. I was able to find another copy. But Grand Theft Auto 1 was pretty cool. I always liked Grand Theft Auto 2 for the Sega Dreamcast. Pretty good game. And that one was actually good because it was in Britain, and it was more cleaned up. Things looked more realistic. Game was top down. This was a game after playing WWF Raw. I was just like, man, I gotta have this. And I would say, honestly, it's a little more detailed, but it's a little bit more rough around the edges. So, hey, it is what it is. The Wheelman is back, Driver 2. No, really even, I think I bought this as well at Goodwill store. These were just a couple games that I bought like 2 weeks ago, and I haven't played this yet. But I'm guessing it's good. It's got all the classic guys on the back. Got the British Bulldog and Owen Hart, rest in peace. Vader, I remember seeing, you know, the Owen Hart thing live. But The World Is Not Enough. I remember this game. My brother has it, and I just bought it a couple weeks ago, a couple dollars. And I remember it coming out, and it was like, basically, damn. That pulls out tough. Like, this game has barely been ever played before. And this, to me, was going to be the sequel to GoldenEye 64. And sadly, it just wasn't. And the same for this one. Most complete Bond experience. Although I never played this one. Tomorrow Never Dies. So I never actually played this one. I might give this a shot. I might live stream it. But I don't really expect that much given this one screenshot here. I mean, are those shoulders, or is that a square on skis? Thanks for watching part 2 of my PS1 collection. I'm doing the final part just because this went on for so long. So thank you guys for watching. If you like it, you know, hit the thumbs up button. If you're new, subscribe. Let me know what games that you play, and, you know, if you love the PlayStation 1 like myself. Let me know what kind of memories you have with that. So stay tuned for part 3. Thanks so much for watching. D-Dub out.